you started your career as well in the motocross,
Yes,
right?
yes. This is where all the tough guys are starting.
That is one of the toughest sports, I think, in the world. Why a Ferrari? What made you go towards a Ferrari and not maybe a different brand?
The Italians were always closer to my heart than the Germans. It's dangerous. I mean, I see that now. I have a son. We got a baby half a year ago. I don't know how he's going to grow up, So it scares me a little bit, So I try to put him in a race car very soon, so I have no time to do this kind of things.
Find distractions.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a guest, a professional racing driver. He raced 85 times. He won 10 times. He was on the podium 22 times in his career. He won 2 championships. He was second in 2 other championships. And he raced 2 times at the 24 Hour of Le Mans. Christoph Ulrich, welcome to the Driver Circle podcast.
Thank you. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure having you here. So, when can we expect back on the grid again?
The first thing I have to say, I was never a professional driver. I was a, let's say, amateur driver, but I never got paid for it. So that's the main difference between AMs and pros. Also, as an AM, you have to pay for your own damage, and the pros, they don't have to do that. So usually.
So that's the difference.
Yeah, yes, it's true. I'm currently taking a break for family reasons, business reasons, things like that. There are plans for next year, maybe even something this year. I don't know yet, but there are plans for next year to go back.
100% this year is.
Yeah, this year is probably one race which we currently figure out if I participate or not. But for next year is. Pretty sure, yes.
And it would be with a Ferrari.
Of course.
Of course.
Yes.
Of course.
Yes.
So did you only race with Ferraris?
No, not only. Not only. I also raced with the KTM, the X-Bow. When the car was brand new in the GT2 series. I also raced with BMWs, with the WTCC car. I raced with TCR cars. But mainly was Ferraris, yes.
And with the KTM was collaboration or partnership with Sportec, right?
Sportec was the race team, yes.
Okay.
Sportec was the race team. They did all the racing operations. Yes.
I think the story behind it, it's fun, like the setup of the car and how you won the championship with the KTM.
It was
interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty. It came a bit like not planned. Sportec took over the representation of the brand in Switzerland next to the Porsche activities. Marcel Fessler, which I don't need to say much about him, became the sporting director. And we met somewhere, and then he asked me if I want to test. We did. He asked me if I want to do a race. We did. We won. If I want to do another one, we did, we won. Yes, and the rest is history. At the end, we won the championship by far.
But you always had to pay when they asked you if you want to race. Is that how it works?
Yes, that's how it works.
Okay.
Yes, you're a client.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
So when you say yes, they're very happy.
I mean, yes, you have probably people you would like to have more in the car. I mean, the best amateur driver is the one who pays the bill, doesn't do any damage, and is winning races.
But I mean, he has to pay for the damage anyway. But yes, I guess it's the time and the effort.
I mean, it's always bad to have a crash, So it's a lot of extra work and things and that, So nobody likes that.
What is the differentiation between a professional racing driver and an amateur driver, except the financial side? Like how you become a professional and how you become an amateur driver?
Okay, to become a professional driver, you have to start in the childhood, So if you're 4, 5, 6 years old, you start usually with karting or whatever. I would say 99% of the grid did that. And then everybody tries to go into Formula One, and that at some point you probably realize, okay, that's not possible. So you try to have a career in prototype series or GT series or whatever is around. And then the FIA, they do have driver categorization. So you have it's 4 categorization. So it starts with the bronze driver, which is, I'm talking about international level, international C license, international B, international A, or then the super license, which is Formula 1. So you start with the bronze driver, and by definition, there are always exceptions, but by definition, it's someone who started racing after the age of 30. Never had any significant career in single-seaters or karting. So it could be that you are a super professional karting racer. You did GP2, whatever, or Formula 2 these days, up to 18, 19. You run out of money. You stop racing and you come back at the age of 35. That would be probably considered as a silver driver. So bronze should be the pure amateur. Then you have the silvers, usually young drivers after a karting career or whatever, doing their first steps on an international level. Plus the silver drivers, they are not employed by a manufacturer. If you're employed, you're a professional racing driver, a Porsche or a Ferrari or whatever, you're a gold driver. You're classified as a gold. And then last category, or the highest category, are the platinum drivers. Ex-Formula 1 and or ex-world champion in WEC, overall winners of 24 Hours of Le Mans. This is considered as a platinum driver.
And what do you have?
I'm a bronze. I will be a bronze. Because if they would categorize me as a silver, I have to go all against the young guns. Thank you. Yes, but it is, so nobody aims for a higher category if you're not really there. So you always aim for the lower one, because if I was a professional karting racer and now I'm 40 or whatever and I go back to racing, I'd like to be a bronze driver, against all the... And there is often you have some professional amateurs, how you call them. So they got hired by the teams because depending the series you're racing in this Pro-Am series, one of the driver needs to be a bronze driver. So that's at the end of the day, that's probably the one who makes the difference, in terms of performance of the whole group, especially in endurance racing.
Oh yeah, you always need that one person.
That one needs to be the fast one, because between the silvers and the gold drivers, I would say the differences are quite very, very small. But then within the bronze drivers, if you have someone who just started racing and you have someone who is racing for 10 years and had a professional karting and maybe even some Formula, I think this guy or lady, what we also have, has a big advantage, So yes.
But that means I could start.
Everybody can.
Anybody can.
Of course. I started when I was 43.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I can start tomorrow.
Yes, you can.
But if I do want to start tomorrow, do I just go register with someone that does track days, or? No,
so what you do is you need... I did my license more than 10 years ago. I know that things have changed. So what you need is an international C. So to get the international C, you need to have 5 races under your belt within a certain time, I think within a year or so. And you need to prove that you're kind of able to compete at a certain level, So there are races you can participate. I think Porsche Sports Cup Swiss would be something you could start with
without a license.
No, an A license in any way is anyway the. So you have some local national license and things like that. National A, national thing. So there you start. So you can do this Swiss Cup, Swiss whatever. Don't know exactly the details, so sorry for that. But there you start. So you start with let's say Porsche Sports Cup Swiss. I think quite a good series. They have a GT4 field, and there you start. And you race it's a Swiss Cup, but it's international tracks. If you don't want to do the high camping, You know, so you start. So they had just Monza, I think, a couple of weeks ago. So yes, yeah.
Oh, so there's still hope that I can become a racing
You
driver.
can, of course, you can become a world champion.
Yeah,
Not in
well.
F1, but yes, no problem.
Maybe in an amateur series.
But there is one fun fact between the two of you. You had also like a kind of racing career in the super motocross.
In motocross and
right?
enduro, yeah.
And you started your career as well in the motocross,
Yes.
right?
Yes, yes. This is where all the tough guys are starting.
Yeah, that's true. That is one of the toughest sports, I think, in the world. I think the stamina and endurance you need is insane. Doesn't look that way, but it's very tiring.
Yes.
Even harder than racing cars?
Way harder.
Even harder than the 24-hour of Le Mans?
24 hours of Le Mans is physically not that demanding. It's mentally. The concentration for... I mean, it's not just 24 hours. You wake up and so first of all, you have the test days, you have the week, everything. You basically don't leave the track. You live in that bubble for 2 weeks, and then when the day is coming, so you have free practice quali until Thursday. Friday is the parade, and then Saturday morning you get up at 7:30. You know, already tensioned and whatever. Then you have the warm up, and then after the warm up, so you have the starting grid procedure, who takes 2 hours, and you are on a constant level of excitement, tension, and whatever. And then the race starts at 4:00, and then it goes to another until Sunday, then another day on 4:00, so 24 hours, and hopefully you make it to the finish line. No. You hardly sleep. So when you finish the race, 4:00, and then everything here and there, 5, 6, 7. So you are up for 36 hours, and you don't feel that because you're full of adrenaline and things like that. And then everything falls off. You know, when I did Le Mans, that's the second Le Mans we finished. The next day, it was like I deleted my hard disk up here. You know, I couldn't remember. You know, physically I was okay.
But you couldn't remember nothing from the racing, or like
not much. Today, yes, but after that, not much about my stints. And that's in the first couple of days. Yes, after that,
because the brain is just constantly being worked.
Yes, so physically, motocross is way more demanding. Yes, the races are much shorter. They're half an hour, 40 minutes, something like that. Yes.
Which always sounds like very short periods of time. When I told people, the race is 25 minutes plus 2 laps, they'd be like, wow, it's only 25 minutes, right? Easy. But when they try
boxing for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But even in go-karting, like even when you drive a go-kart, you say, the session is just 10 minutes, right? I will take the next one again. And the second session you're destroyed. Like after 20 minutes, you don't feel your hands. Like you're...
Yeah, I mean, it's a rental cart, you know, for where the grandmothers and everything, or is it a K-set, you know? So the shifter, you borrow. If I haven't driven my kart for a while, I can hardly do 2 laps. Honestly, in South Garda, so everything you can't even go out of it. You know, so and then the kids are doing circle around you. You know, it's a different muscle memories, of course.
I was talking more about like the go-kart centers that you can go and just pay for a session. And
that's because you're so unfit. That's why you can only do 10 laps and then you're finished. Yeah.
So tell us after the motocross career, how you decided to enter in the car racing world.
Well, this was not just immediate. This was, 20 years in between. So it was not, I stopped. I did, you did enduro, which was also quite tough one.
But it was in the jungle.
Yeah.
Which makes it twice as hard.
Yes.
Because it's 35 degrees and humid.
Right? So I did only motocross. I did an amateur championship. Back then it was called IMBA. I did some European races, and I think even we went to Nordics and Ireland and so on. And it was, I was 22, 23. I was a motorcycle mechanic, I think I had a salary of 4 or 5K, that's quite, and all this holidays and everything is, so you're constantly close to being bankrupt. So at 22, 23, I ran out of talent and money. I saw that this is not going further. And then I stopped it. I didn't want to do anything halfway. So I stopped it and focused on, changing my profession and go out of that and do like that. And it took 20 years. And then 20 years later, it was also not really planned.
Randomly, like we are talking with somebody and you just... I was
always fascinated. I'm into 86. I think the first time I went to Monaco for F1. I slept in my Peugeot T05 in the garage of the Hotel Columbus. Yes, back then it was possible. And we were basically walking around the track. So it was me and my girlfriend back then. So we drove in the night from Saturday to Sunday. Saturday evening we started here and then we drove to Monaco and we arrived somewhere, I don't know, after midnight, and then we just walked around. And this was mid of the 90s. If you compare that to today, there were everywhere parties, there were everything, the tip-top bar, everything was full of models and celebrities and so on. We were just there. Both of us, we were fascinated. But I couldn't afford more than a ticket. So we slept in the Peugeot. And we even did that in Imola. This was I think the second race we went, mid of the 95. This was my 95, yes. I was always a fan, and then I started to follow the BPR series, GT series, went to 24 Hours of Spa a couple of times to watch it and so on. And then one day I wanted to buy a race car for track days. And I did. 2015, I bought that car, 458 GTE, did 2 test days, and asked if I can do one race. To the team owner, I said, I would like to do one car race in my life, just that I have done it, Today we are somewhere, you said 85, I don't know how many races I did, 85, 10 years, yes.
But before that first race, you must have had a sports car just to understand that you like driving cars.
I had sports cars, yes. I had these road cars and so on, but they're so different. I had the learning by doing. I had always a good coach. My first coaches and the engineers. So the team I have chosen, it was, I haven't chosen them. I wanted to buy a car from them. And they were super supportive, super nice. Even I was less than a nobody. I was immediately part of the family and so on. That's AF Corse, which is running the hypercar program today.
Yeah, it was about before starting your first race, whether you had road cars, sports cars, to understand that you actually like driving cars instead of motorbikes.
I thought, yes. This was... I guessed that about myself. I had sports cars, yes. I had sports cars. I bought, after my motocross career, if you want so, I sold everything and I bought a Ferrari 348 and I was following F1. I went to some races. But, yes, so we on a very, very low base. Then I started to follow BPR series. And GT racing series, 24 Hours of Spa. I've never been to Le Mans back then. Then I wanted to buy a race car for track days, and I wanted a Ferrari. I wanted a car with a bit of a Le Mans history and so on. So I approached Amato Ferrari, and we went along very well. And I bought the car, and with the car came a package of 2 test days. One in Monza, one in Misano, and an invitation to the 24 Hours of Le Mans as a guest.
Okay.
As a guest. Yes, as a team guest. And so after these 2 tests, I asked if I can do a race for just one race.
How it was these two tests? Were you performing well? Or?
Yeah, yes, was really good. Was really good. I have to say, I don't like to, kind of about myself, but was really good. I was in Misano, and I had not really an idea of what I'm doing. So it was a GTE car. So these cars were developed with a special tire, which you don't have if you don't race in these championships, So yes, I didn't have any kind of idea what is going on there.
You've spoken about Ferrari a lot, and one of your first sports cars was a 248?
348.
348? The Ferrari fans are going to hate me for saying 248, but it's okay. Why a 348? Why a Ferrari? What made you go towards a Ferrari and not maybe a different brand?
Exactly. Why not Porsche, Lamborghini, or any other brand that is also into racing?
What can I say? Okay, being not politically not very correct. The Italians were always closer to my heart than the Germans.
Okay, yeah.
So let's say it like that. I started, the motocross racing started basically in Italy. Because Switzerland was not really possible to do much. So I was going to Italy from a very young age. I started with the motocross when I was 14. Thanks to some guys from the neighborhood who started. So I was able to buy with some work I did in a local bakery and a very old shitty bike, and then throw it on the trailer or in the transporter they had and go with them. To Casale Monferrato or Asti or Brau or Bosisio Parini and all these kind of little tracks where you just slept in the forest. And I was always, Italy was, and then Formula One, of course, Ferrari, Formula One. Of course, I became a Ferraristi. Actually, from a very young age, this fascinated me always. And then there was no question.
There's always... especially in regards to car brands, it must start somewhere with some kind of, whether it's a young child and you tell them to sit in your Ferrari or you sit in a Porsche, that's already that first connection to a brand.
I think I saw a Ferrari when I was very little.
Yeah.
My parents used to visit friends of the family in La Chaux-de-Fonds, and there was obviously a neighbor who had a Ferrari. And my parents told me that I was always looking, I couldn't even talk.
Yeah.
I was just looking at this car. So that's the legend say that. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah.
Well, they told me that, yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's
something
always
was there, yes.
that first moment, whether it's a Lotus or whatever it is, I think that really helps to guide someone into a brand.
The funny thing is, as a kid, when you see a sport car and it's red, it doesn't matter which brand it is, right? You immediately call it Ferrari. Like for me, for example, when I'm thinking about the childhood, every sport car was a Ferrari. You don't distinguish them between a Porsche, and especially if it's red, it's always a Ferrari. And was it like that for you as well, or you remember like, okay, that was a Ferrari and the other brands were other brands, like you separated them?
Yeah, I separated them. I was never interested in the other brands. Never. Maybe a bit of Lamborghini. I liked the Diablos and the Countach and so for sure, but never was really into those ones. One car, let's say, except Ferrari, one car who always fascinated me was, of course, the McLaren F1 GTR. Also now the S1 LM. Beautiful what they did, or Gordon Murray did. Yes, so let's say that's the only kind of, cheating.
What about a Porsche Carrera GT, for example? Do you find that car fascinating or not?
Yeah, I think is at some point they did what Ferrari should have done, developing a V10. During the 2000 years, with the Formula One success, with the F1 2000, 2002, 3, 4, blah, blah, they should have developed a V10. I mean, for me, it's easy to say, so, but from my perspective, they should have done that, to bring the technology of those cars to the road.
So Ferrari never developed actually V10, right?
Never for a road car. Huh? They developed the V10 for F1, which is a benchmark still today.
Because, for example, I recently bought a book of Ferrari history, and I discovered there that the V6, it's like since decades in the Ferrari. I had no clue. I thought the 296 was the first car with the V6
Yes,
actually.
it's not just since Instagram.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I thought it was the first V6 as well.
No, it's from the 50s or 60s,
Yes,
something
yes,
like
yes.
that.
They even had a one-cylinder and development engines, and yes, even motorbikes. They even build motorbikes.
No tractors like Lamborghini.
No, but boats. No, boats. Yes, speed boats. Yes, yes. Yes, they have a wide spectrum, or had a wide spectrum.
And when it comes to Ferrari and Formula One, let's say which era is your favorite era in Formula One, let's say history of Ferrari?
Two areas, I'd say, or I mean, it's between the mid of the 90s or the beginning of the 90s with Mansell. That's when I was following as close as possible. I was 20 at this time, 19, 20. So this was before the internet, before RTL broadcasted it, or for sure there were no Sky or all this kind of what we have today. So you had Swiss TV, but this is when the time I was able to watch them on a regular basis. Then for sure the 2000s, not specifically because of Michael Schumacher. I was never extreme fan of Schumacher, despite all his success. What he did with the Scuderia, outstanding. I was once or a few times in the house he in Maranello where he stayed during his tests. So I was using more or less his facilities. And you get goosebumps when you're there and you speak to the people. But the 90s, the 2000s, till 2007, 8, for me, the 7 and 8 cars are also aerodynamically extremely advanced. And the 2000 cars, they were just, I would say they would still be competitive today. Yeah, they were so way ahead.
What would be interesting would be to see these Ferraris from 2000 or late 90s, to see them in the historic Grand Prix in Monaco or other races, because it's also the era when we started following Formula One, even when we were super young. But older versions, like older models from the 80s, 70s, 60s, are already too old for me, and I watch them, but I'm not getting so excited as seeing from the 90s or 2000 the Ferraris or any other Formula One. Yeah,
I mean, this is something what you can see now in the collector world. There's a generation shift going on since a couple of years. So a couple of years ago you had the 250S VB cars or the California Spiders or whatever. The cars from the 50s, 60s. They had the high numbers. Who's having the high numbers now? Is the F40s, is the F50s. These are the people who are able to buy them now, wherever they're coming from, crypto, tech, whatever. Mm-hmm. So different businesses, they want to have those kind of cars. So when they were kids 20 years ago, so they saw those cars when they were 5, 6, they saw the Lambo SV or the F40, F50 Enzo. That's what they're going to buy now. They're not interested. This old crap. I'm not interested. I want those cars. And you see that, of course, also coming into, and it will be a challenge for all the historic racing series. They need to kind of adapt and go with the years. I would say if you look at the historic Grand Prix in Monaco a couple of weeks ago, there are cars from the 50s, pre-war and so on. I don't know about the public who was there, the stands were completely full. And I was there the 10th time. This is crazy. I've never seen so many people. I don't know for what those people, the majority of these people came, more for the newer of the old cars or more for the older of the old cars. So that would be interesting to find out.
For me, the most important part was the Ferrari client session when they did the parade with the Ferrari clienti. That was the most interesting one. The other one I followed as well, but I was not so enthusiastic, let's say.
Which is interesting because the parade was not competing. So this was not really racing. Some of them drive faster, some others just enjoy driving. Versus if you look at the group age group G of F1 competition. I mean, these guys, they are faster.
They were racing, yes.
Racing, yeah. They don't take prisoners. Huh?
But what I think makes that event so special is that it's quite open to the public. It's not so commercialized. It's not like you need to get special VIP tickets to go. It's quite a different atmosphere.
I mean, it was very different 10 years ago. 10 years ago, you could basically walk in everywhere. Nobody cared, Nobody cared. Now it's a bit more restricted, but still, I call it a bit influencer free.
Yeah.
So it helps a lot these days versus the F1. The regular F1 just became a bit of a clown show. Sorry to say that, but that's my opinion.
It's just getting way too big.
It's
way
huge.
too many people.
I would not people sometimes even get an invitation. I'm not going. You know, it's just too crowded.
I mean, I went to the Formula E and I went to the grid.
Yeah.
And I felt like a sardine in a can because it was so full. So full. Formula E. But it's also because there's lots of influencers, people that are there to try and promote the series. Because, to be honest, the stands were not full. So I think that's one reason they're trying to get people to to understand.
Otherwise, it's a bit like Historic is completely full, F1 is full, and then Formula E, nobody's there. It says a lot. No comment.
Well, that's interesting because it's, again, a new generation going into racing with Formula E, right? We can compare it maybe with the Ferrari Luce, what's happening, right? They are trying to conquer a new audience for the racing market. I don't know how to explain it. That's probably why they are investing in influencers and marketing, right? To get people into it.
You said Ferrari Luce, looked at Christoph's face. And
Did you ask me a question or?
Do you like the Ferrari Luce?
If I answer you that, I'll probably get blacklisted.
We have to bleep everything.
Now we want the answer. Politically correct.
I don't need to answer politically correct. It's not necessary. I have my opinion. If someone can disagree, no problem. No, I don't like it at all.
Do you think it really doesn't help the brand, or there must be a reason why they did it? There must be a reason.
Yeah, for sure. They have their reasons to decide to go that road. I would have done different. I disagree here with the people who decided that. That's legit, no problem. I disagree. I think it wasn't necessary. We see other brands who cancel it already. Don't want to go into details. I know also quite a lot of things, but I don't want to expose it here. We will see. We will see what they will call as a success. Let's see. But for me, it wasn't necessary.
How much do we need to pay you to disclose this information? Oh, you say
After the podcast,
we'll discuss.
Everybody can approach me. Everybody can approach me who wants to know my opinion about it, and I will say it.
Okay, we'll try after the podcast.
No, but I said already a few things, and I got approached by.
But let me ask you then a question more generic, because first the Mercedes AMG GT 4-door went fully electric, then Ferrari Luce. It's like a bit of a dark moment for the automotive industry. I'm feeling like, for me, these models, I don't know.
It's an experiment, maybe. Maybe really they said, okay, we're going to test the water. What's it about? I'm not saying that Ferrari shouldn't do an EV. Even I say it's not necessary. I have my opinion about all this EV stuff, and the interesting thing is I'm an investor in the in the EV mobility market since many years. I was also very successful with some exits and so on. So I have some insights. And when the European Union a couple of years ago announced that by 2035 we are ICE free, I was laughing my ass off. I say, this is never going to happen, because for many reasons. Many, many reasons. I have another business which is touching the area of data centers. Touching, not my main business, but touching. So data centers, KI-ready data centers to distribute or to deliver electricity. You don't have cables. You have copper kind of bars. The need is so huge. So huge. We can't even deliver all what's probably is needed in the future. And we all want to go electric. It's not going to work. The infrastructure is not ready. And by infrastructure, I'm not talking about a few charging points. No, it's not. That's not the problem. That's what the people think. Okay, just put no, it's the production of the electricity. So look at the discussion we have here, you know? So new nuclear plants, even if we say yes tomorrow, which is not going to happen, how long does it go until they're up and running? You know, we talk about the windmills, you know, nobody wants them, you know, nobody, everywhere people are against it, you know, so the discussion is going on for years, so it's not going to happen. And the real shame is that Volkswagen Group had a very, very clean diesel engine developed with almost zero emission, zero. And thanks to the Dieselgate, they killed it. They killed it. They politically killed it. And that's a shame. Nobody really knows that. And that's a shame, you know. And we are running after ideologies and political stuff, but the real world is different, you know. It's different. It's not working like that, you know. So, yes, that's a bit of a excursus.
What do you think of is it called hydrogen solution that Toyota has?
Yes, I mean, Toyota is a very clever company. I think what Toyota shows a bit in a nutshell is that the solution in the future is a mix. It's not this or that. It is a combination, you know? You don't need a V12 if you go from one side of the city to the other side of the city.
Wow.
Yes, I know what you say. You're probably the only one who enjoys it because you're in traffic, you know. You can't really enjoy it, you know? This is true, like you buy a racehorse just, you know.
Yeah, to go around.
Just to go around. Yes,
but all the crypto bros, they want to show off.
Yeah, if you're successful in life, really, you don't need to show off at all.
That's a good point.
Yeah. Yes.
More ironically.
Yes. So in a city, a small car, whatever it is, an EV makes total sense, you know. So I'm not using one of my sports cars to go to Zurich for a dinner. No, I'm using our little diesel car or something like that. You know, so, but if you want to go for a longer trip, if you want to do a nice road trip along the coast, yes, that's nice to have a sports convertible, whatever. So it's going to be a mix, and I still had a lot of hopes in the biofuel, in these kind of things. You know, I think the whole discussion should have a bit more common sense and not just left, right, and ideologies and things like that.
But what you're saying is that one car could be a combination of hybrid and combustion.
I think the hybrid is not. It's quite an interesting technology, you know. So thinking about having a hybrid with synthetic fuel, you run pretty clean. And we have a 296 GTS, which is a hybrid. So yes, if I come home or if I'm leaving home on a Sunday morning at 5 because I want to go on a drive. Yes, I like even if it's a V6, it sounds amazing. But my neighbors, they probably want to sleep on a Sunday morning, which I understand, you know. Yeah. And you go in full electric mode, you leave the village, and then you fire it up. Fantastic, great. You enjoy. You don't bother anyone. it goes hand in hand, So these kind of things could quite work for everybody,
But we want the cold start.
No. We have sometimes in the village also some friends. They have some, I don't know what kind of exos they have on their Lambos or BMWs, and then they go flat out through the little street we're living.
Yeah,
kill them.
unnecessary.
So no, it's unnecessary. Unnecessary. You don't. This is what I say. This is a show off. So okay, if you want to show, if you want to be a sports car driver, sign up. Go to Spa and go flat through Orugen Radio. And then we see if we have balls or not. That's it.
You agree with that?
I fully agree.
Yes.
I've spent 4 days 2 weeks ago on the racetrack on the Nürburgring, and I come back and I go, I don't even want to go into the mountains anymore because it's so different.
I mean, mountains, but speeding or posing in the cities is
Yes.
I like to see nice cars. I like to sit in a coffee and cars cruising by. Yes, nothing against that, But doing all that stuff, it's not necessary. Come on, it's immature.
Well, I still like driving on the mountain passes. I mean, the overall experience is you enjoy the car. You also meet nice people there. It's not just for the drive, right?
Definitely.
The entire experience, it's nice. I never tried track days. I tried more drifting, and that was exciting, but more than that, I cannot say, but still, the mountain passes are a nice experience overall.
Yes, of course. I don't do much of mountain pass driving due to family things and so, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. I say driving efficient. You're probably sometimes a bit faster than the laws allow, but but it's still in a way where you say, okay, you can. It's kind of not really a problem and so on, not excessive.
But what I wanted to explain was that on track, you really use the car to its full potential. You are full throttle for a big amount of seconds, especially on the Nürburgring. You're full out and you really use the car on a mountain pass, especially in Switzerland, maybe use 10, 15% of the car's potential. And that's what I mean. That's why the track is really where you can
on
show
public
and
roads,
use the
you're
car.
not alone. You share it. You share. Everybody has the right to be there, basically. If it's allowed. So you have the cyclists. You have the camions. You have the motorhomes, whatever. So they're all there. So they have all the right to be there. And then okay, you either adapt or if not, then go to a racetrack.
I have an interesting question now for you. If you need to save just one car for the rest of your life, your dream car, let's say, which car would it be?
Road car or race car?
A road car.
Interesting.
It's an interesting question. Yes, it's an interesting question. So, I
wonder if your brain is going investment-wise.
No, zero.
Okay.
Zero.
Okay, zero investment. Just
Zero investment. The investment
There
is
is no
sometimes
calculation. It's just like the perfect car.
probably the F40. It's not a V12.
so iconic.
I unfortunately I don't own an Enzo or an F50, so I can't say. But from the cars I have, yes, probably the F40.
Why are you saying so? Is it better the F50 than the F40?
No,
for
I have
example?
never driven them. I don't know. So how can I decide? I couldn't say F50 because I never had one, never driven one.
Because for me, it's more iconic, for example, F40 than the F50.
The F50 is an interesting car. The F50 is from 1995. So an interesting time in Formula One and also in the sports car series with the 323 SP. And if you have the bare chassis of an F50 and a 333 SP next to it, it looks the same. It's the same.
So it's a different shell.
It's a bit of a different shell. Yes, a bit. Of course, the cockpit is a bit wider, so they're really two people. Versus in the 323, theoretically two people, but very small ones. So, and it was, and the engine of the 50 is really based on the Formula One engine, you know. So, and it's directly mounted to the chassis. So, if you drive the 50, actually you feel a lot of vibrations and you hear all the mechanical noise and things like that, So it's an interesting car. It's a very interesting car, yeah. So it's a great car, and if you put a Tubi style exhaust, it's really like a fun.
Wake up your neighbors again.
Yes, yes. Probably they say, okay, if he starts there 50 is fine. I don't know. I couldn't test it.
I would say that for sure.
You would just have to let them sit in the car once or twice, and they will
go drive
love
around with them. Then it's okay. No,
I could sleep close to it.
Yes.
Interesting. We didn't touch the entrepreneurship or the entrepreneurial part at all. Where I'm interested is how did you manage racing and being an entrepreneur at the same time?
Back then, I was lucky that the business was running a lot on itself, because it depends which series I did. But let's say the last year in WEC, I was constantly somewhere, and I was also training 4 to 6 hours a day. So I was cycling, running all day. Yeah, I was a bit in a different shape than today.
I didn't say that, but
yeah. So it was. I was focused only on that. We were testing, we went testing in Sebring, then a few days later in Aragon, and then another few days later in Barcelona, and here and there, Vallelunga, everywhere. Yes. So
does it mean that you raced the entire season in?
I did. I raced the entire season, the entire WEC in 2022 as well. So we started the season in Sebring. We went already testing in Sebring before, and then we raced in all over Europe. We raced in Japan. We raced in Bahrain. So it's a lot of testing and a lot of. I don't know how many times we tested in Paul Ricard that season. So we were every week. I was in the car every week, and then so the business ran a bit on itself back then. Other than that, it's just these days you can do a lot of remote. And if you're self-employed, you don't need to be in an office all day, but you work also at 3 a.m. from somewhere, a hotel room in Tokyo, possible. Yes. Yep. So it needs to, and very often I had to go for a call and things like that during practice or in testing. I was asking my engineer from 10 to 11, I have a telephone conference to attend. Please, my running plan adapted accordingly. So during testing, that's possible. Race weekend, no, I'm off.
But would you say to race a full season, you would have to be an entrepreneur because you would be able to be a bit more flexible in terms of time? Being fully employed, it would probably not be possible.
It depends which series. If you do a full series in Italian GT, okay, you have 4 races during the year.
Okay.
Maybe you do 2 test days or something like that. It's more like a weekend happening. But even there, your first tests is on a Friday. Free practice on a Friday. So if you're an employee,
you take the day off.
You have to take the day off. So I think could be pretty, I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's more challenging for sure if you are an employee. Yes.
Yes, I have a good question. I think for many of the people watching the podcast, and we have very cool people here to explain what their life is about, the cars, the history, the racing. But that is not possible just from day one. So you must have been employed at some point and decided, look, don't want to be employed anymore and try and do my own thing.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm guessing that is what happened to you, that you at some point were in the corporate world and then decided, this is not mine. I want to try and do my own thing.
It did came like that. I always had a bit of my side business here and there. So of course that started already when I was in the first half of being a teenager. I started very, very young with owning my or earning my own money.
Yeah.
So this started very, very young. Somehow I always liked things I couldn't afford. So I had to
Like
do
many
something.
of us, yeah.
So I had to do things, you know. So then I did the corporate ladder. It was in a Fortune 500 company. It was
Okay.
blah blah blah. And then also started my side business and things like that, and that growed. I did some investments, did some private equity stuff, then had some good exits and so on. And at the end, I did not want to be employed anymore. So that was around, what is now, 26, 10 years ago as well, right? That.
Oh, okay, that's
yes.
not too long.
No.
There's still hope for us.
Yeah, I was pretty young.
For sure.
So, yes.
I'm curious to hear your opinion on, all of these business guru, motivational guru on internet. They're saying, leave your 9-to-5 job. Everyone can be an entrepreneur. Everyone can be successful in business. What's your take on that one?
I don't care. I couldn't care less about that shit. No, zero.
But do you think to be an entrepreneur, you need to have certain mindset or certain skills?
Yeah,
or
sure.
Determination might be the main
so you need
factor?
to be 100% convinced of what you're doing. That's what you do is thing everybody needs or your client needs. You need to have a vision. You need to have a passion. You need to, because there are a lot of things thrown at you, a lot of challenges, problems, whatever. So you need to go through that and you need to kind of like it. You need to kind of like it. You need to kind of like that. You need to probably being a bit masochist, to like the pain.
When you get slapped or something, and
Probably
you have to
enjoy
like
that.
it.
I don't know. I did never discovered that, but so yes, of course, it needs to be somehow in your blood, because it's at some point it's chaotic, especially when you build up something.
So you have to like being punched in the face every now and then.
No,
right?
it's just like, okay, you get knocked out.
Correct.
And then you stand up again,
And keep
But
going.
all these business gurus and all the people, I mean, it's existed already 20 years ago with these people. They sold books and courses and they filled stadiums and motivational speeches and things like that. Whoever likes it, but...
You didn't like that question.
No, it's a fair question, and I think the problem. But it's no. It's not that I don't like this question. I think it's very important to touch that. I'm Generation X, I think, right? If you have that terms. So we grew up without social media. We grew up basically without internet. We were already mid-20s or something like that when the internet came. So we grew up in a complete different environment. There was no motivational trainer. If you wanted to be your own boss, you're your own boss and you're your own motivational trainer. And probably your parents say you're crazy, you're nuts, leaving a job and starting whatever kind of business, so are you nuts? So that was motivational enough, But these days there's so much influence for young people that they can lose their mind. They don't know what to do, and they see all this fake world in social media. They don't really, they can't really understand. Okay, I read this, and the influence on the brain is so crazy, It's so toxic in a way, not healthy. And people are addicted to the screens. This is as an older person and seeing that a bit from a distance, it's dangerous. I mean, I see that now. I have a son. We got a baby half a year ago. I don't know how he's going to grow up. So it scares me a little bit. So I try to put him in a race car very soon, so I have no time to do this kind of things.
Find distractions.
Yes. Yes.
It's an interesting answer, but if you need to give like an advice to someone that wants to start a business like now from zero.
Very easy. Don't listen to others, believe in yourself. Basically. Doesn't mean don't listen to others, don't take advice. Yes, take advice from people, real people, not some kind of idiot, sorry to say that, but it's like that, you know.
Internet gurus with
Yeah.
thousands of followers.
The Andrew Tate,
Exactly.
for example.
Exactly, you know. I mean, sorry.
The most famous, one and only.
But you get so blinded.
Exactly, you know. Young guys, they think this is it. This is how I need to be. No, you don't need to be like that. You don't need to be like that at all, you know. So be real. Don't fake, don't copy. Be real. Find your own personality. Believe in something. If you fail, you fail. You know? That's what I like when you go to the United States. You know, the mindset they have in the States. You know, I like that from an entrepreneurial point of view. You know? They think big. They are very pragmatic. They just go for an idea and they work and they go and they do it and they make it happen, you know. Sometimes you think, how is it possible that this person, who's probably not the most intelligent one from your point of view, how could he be so or she so successful? Because they just did it. They believed in it and they just did it, you know. And we are very often, we question ourselves, you know, I don't know if I can do this and so on. And other people say this and then I read that and so on. You're lost. You're completely lost. So if you think that is the thing, go for it. And, you know, social media is just, call it a freak show, clown show, whatever. It's not the real world. That's it. That's my advice.
I also think you make your own luck. As in, if you go out, if you have a lunch with someone, it doesn't matter if it's about the entrepreneurial topic, but if you explain to them what you want to do, they'll be like, hey, I know a friend that does this. Maybe I can put you in touch with that person. And that's what I mean by creating your own luck. It's having to go out and then speaking to people, network, whatever it is. And that can then generate leads in some cases.
If you're a real entrepreneur, a real one, you know, not like your network, it's not the number of followers you have on Instagram. Not at all. These are the real people. You can ask for advice. People who say it straight to your face. People are going to help you. People are going to guide you. People you learn from. So building the network you have is the most important thing from a very young age.
So it's basically the contact list in WhatsApp, not the followers on Instagram.
Basically, if you want so, yeah. If you have the WhatsApp number or if you have the telephone numbers, there's still people without WhatsApp. So, and no, but it's the people you have a real connection with, you know. So from one fake account to another Indian bot is probably not
going to help.
No, it makes no sense, you know. So sorry.
What was your biggest fail then in your career?
Never had any.
No fails.
No, you have fails. Trusting the wrong people, business or private.
That is part of
It's part of it. It's part of if you create something, if you build something, it's shaping, you know, and it is, you know, you cut something off to see it or sometimes you need to burn a field for things can grow again, you know, or you need to cut something that something can grow. So yeah, I would say trusting certain people, yes, in private and in the business world, yes.
I think that's very, very difficult to know whether it's right or wrong, because now I found a potential co-founder that wants to be part of what I'm creating on a business side, but to me this person seems very genuine, and all the due diligence I do, I think, this person could be the right person, but there's no guarantee. So there's no right or wrong. I mean, it's whether I trust my own gut that this could work or I find out it doesn't work. But I will maybe make the same mistake 2 or 3 times because I can't know whether it's true.
Business, being with partners can accelerate the business, but it can also be a big lesson. Yeah, you never really know in advance. Just be aware and on alert. Yeah.
There is always the risk of taking a risk, and there is the risk of not taking a risk. So you need to choose.
You can't win anything without taking a risk. It's not possible, from my experience.
Christoph, we are approaching the end. And as the last question, if there is a name that should share his story here at the podcast with us,
He is already smiling. He knows. He knows.
Yes, I
don't
know.
say Fernando Alonso or...
No. I can give you an A and a B, maybe. So if you make, I would like to hear, or I would like to see Peter Sauber.
Very interesting.
Yes, and a bit about how was it moving from Group C with Mercedes to Formula One, and what was the biggest challenge, and what do we don't know? You know, are they failed
behind the scenes?
Behind the scenes, failed sponsor contracts, you know, all the interesting stories you can tell 30, 40 years later, you couldn't 5 years after, but 10, 15 years later, you could tell, you know, these kind of things.
All the NDAs he signed are not
they're not
gone,
valid
you know?
anymore, you
Not
know,
valid.
people are not alive anymore, so you can go for it. Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Yes.
And the B?
Mario Ilian. Very interesting person who is still very, very much, yes, you don't know who is Mario
I
Ilian.
have no idea, but
Yes, so Mario Ilian is the guy at the end behind all the success you see with Mercedes in Formula 1. He's a Swiss guy from Chur. He's still very much involved in engine constructions. I don't know how old Mario Ilian is. Meanwhile, 70. Sorry, Mr. Ilian, if you see that. I don't know. Still very, very much involved. Mega constructor. So he was the constructor of the F1 Mercedes engine with Sauber. So also the engines before. Then later on, and a lot of things still involved. Ilmore, absolute benchmark in racing engine technologies. And I know that he still builds and constructs engines they're using for historic race cars and things like that. Yes, a very interesting person as well.
Mario and Peter.
I think we will need some help here.
That's okay. We'll find them.
Yes.
Thank you, Christoph, for being here.
Thank you very much
It was
for
a
coming.
pleasure.
Yes.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.